Have you ever used an app or a website that just felt right? Effortless, intuitive, maybe even a little fun to use. Well, that feeling, it's no accident. It's the result of something called digital design. And in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you all the secrets.
So what is it? What really separates a beautiful, smooth experience from one that's just frustrating? We've all been there. The answer isn't just about making things look pretty. It's a super carefully planned process. This kind of blend of art and science that we are about to dive into.
Okay, so our journey starts right at the beginning, first impressions. That very first thing we notice, the whole look and feel, is controlled by a discipline called visual design. You can think of it as the silent language that speaks to us before we even click a single button.
And let's be clear, this is not just about making things look good. Real visual design is the intentional use of things like imagery, color, and fonts to actually make the product easier to use. It's all about creating clarity and guiding your eye exactly where it needs to go.
So, how do designers actually pull this off? Well, they use a specific language, and just like any language, it has two main parts. You've got the vocabulary, those are the basic elements, and then you've got the grammar, the principles that tell you how to put all those pieces together in a way that makes sense. Here's probably the best way to think about it. The elements, things like line, shape, and color, they're your box of Legos. The principles, like balance, contrast, and hierarchy, well, that's the instruction manual that shows you how to build something amazing out of those Legos. To really see this in action, let's just focus on one of the most powerful principles from that instruction manual, hierarchy. It is all about communicating what's most important on the screen.
To put it simply, hierarchy tells your brain what to look at first, then second, then third. A good design uses it so naturally you barely even notice it's happening. The most important information just kind of pops, It guides your attention without any effort from you.
Check out how the Quartz news site uses this. Your eye is immediately drawn to that main story. And why? Well, because it's bigger and it's bolder. The other stories are smaller, which instantly tells you they're secondary. Your brain figures all of this out in a split second without you even having to think about it. Okay, so that was a key principle, right? One of the instructions. Now let's look at one of the most powerful and honestly most misunderstood elements, one of the building blocks, negative space. And no, it's not just emptiness. It's an active, powerful tool for creating focus. Just think about Google's homepage. It's mostly empty, but that massive amount of negative space is what forces your attention right onto the search bar. By combining this powerful element with principles like dominance and balance, Google creates this experience that feels calm, focused, and just incredibly easy to use. But once a designer has this blueprint using all these cool elements and principles, how do they know if it actually works? They can't just hope for the best. And this brings us to the second huge secret of great design, prototyping. I absolutely love this analogy because it's perfect. Prototyping is literally the test drive for a digital product. It's the chance to get behind the wheel and see how it feels before you commit to building the entire thing.
Now, the really important thing here is that a prototype is not the final product. Not even close. It's a model that's built specifically to test something, whether that's a new idea, a workflow, or just the overall vibe of the experience. But a prototype can be anything from a quick sketch on a napkin to a fully interactive mock-up that feels real. The key difference between all of them is a concept called fidelity, which is really just a fancy way of describing how realistic and detailed it is.
So, on one end of the spectrum, you have low-fidelity prototypes. Think quick sketches on paper. They're just designed to test the basic idea and the flow. Then, all the way on the other end, you have high-fidelity prototypes, which look and feel almost exactly like the real thing. Those are used for fine-tuning the design and getting that final user feedback. Designers have a whole toolbox for this. You can start with simple paper sketches. You can build digital wireframes where you can actually click from one screen to the next. You can even use something called a Wizard of Oz prototype, where a real person is hiding behind the scenes, manually faking how a complex system would respond. It's all about picking the right tool for the job. All right, so now we have our design principles and our prototyping methods. Let's bring it all together and talk about why this whole process is so critical for making products that we actually love to use. The benefits of this test drive are just huge. You get feedback from actual users right away. You can find and fix problems when they're cheap and easy to change, not after thousands of lines of code have already been written. Plus, it makes sure everyone on the team, the designers, the developers, everybody is on the exact same page. So when you boil it all down, here's the real takeaway. That effortless, intuitive feeling you get from a great app, it isn't magic. It is the result of a deliberate process, of applying the language of design and then rigorously testing every single assumption along the way.
From now on, you're going to start to see the digital world a little differently. You'll notice the hierarchy in the news you read. You'll see the use of space, and you'll spot the deliberate choices behind every single element. So the only question left is, what are you going to notice next?